Retirement supports in Canada can seem a little daunting with CPP, OAS, GIC, and even your RRSP. In this video, we are going to give you the roadmap to help you navigate through all of these supports. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. This is going to be a good one. Common questions I hear a lot are, should I take my CPP early? Should I delay my OAS? What income counts towards my GIS? These are absolutely some great questions, and we are going to answer them all as we look at the retirement roadmap from age 60 all the way up to age 71, and maybe we may even peek beyond that with some RRIF information. Retirement planning should ideally begin a long time before you get there. In fact, the earlier you begin to think about retirement, the better. Thinking about how you want to structure your investments, for example, can be huge as you move into retirement. We're not really going to dive into investment planning in this video, but it is something you may want to keep in the back of your head as we move down the roadmap and we look at the supports available to Canadians. Join the conversation. Let us know in the comments if you are already retired or you're in that retirement planning stage. Your participation is, of course, well appreciated. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on future content, and thank you for that click. Let's jump right in, and we are going to start with age 60. The reason we are starting before most people retire is that at 60 you are allowed to begin collecting your Canada Pension Plan or CPP. There are pros and cons to starting this support early. One of the biggest cons is that you will take a penalty for starting early. For every month you take your CPP early, it is reduced by 0.6%. So at age 60, your CPP would be cut by a whopping 36%. So if you were entitled to $1,000 at age 65, you would only receive $640 per month. That is quite the hit, but there are cases where you may actually want to do that. Your CPP is 100% taxable income, and it is counted when you do the GIC calculations for qualifications as well as how much GIC you can get. If you are in a situation whereas taking your CPP at a later age would impact your GIC, then it may make sense to take it early just so that you can actually take it at a slightly smaller value for your calculations for future GICs. In addition to that, your overall health situation could also be a huge consideration. If you are not healthy and you don't expect to live a very long life, then you may want or even need to take your CPP early. Hopefully you guys are not in that situation, that's for sure. Some investors may believe that they can make more investing than the 7.2% they lose each year. That is completely possible, though you want to make sure you know what you are doing regarding investing. Ideally, if you could be generating the lost revenue as tax-free passive income, that would be very nice for your overall retirement cash flow. Jumping ahead a year, we are now at age 61, and if you have decided to begin taking your CPP, you are still looking at a penalty, but this time it is only 28.8%. So for that hypothetical $1,000 at 65, you would be taking home, well, $712 per month. Let me add that that $1,000 we're using as the example at age 65 is just an easy-to-use number. I do want to point out that the average monthly CPP in Canada at 65 is roughly $727. With that being said, let's move ahead 1 year and we're going to hit 62. And that reduction in your CPP, that comes down to 21.6%. So that example $1,000 at 65 becomes $784. Let's keep this car moving. We're going to head over to 63, and that reduction is now only 14.4%. So that means, with our example, you would end up receiving $856. Interestingly enough, if you only expect to live to 75, this is actually the ideal time to take your CPP to receive the most amount of benefits over your full retirement. You gotta love math. Moving up to 64, we find that the reduction is now only 7.2%, and you would be looking at receiving $928 per month if your CPP were calculated at $1,000 at age 65. Remember, it's probably going to be lower than this. That 1,000 is just our example number. So just to point out, the amount of CPP you are actually entitled to, it varies quite a bit from Canadian to Canadian, as it is based on how much you paid into the pension. Do you feel the excitement as we move into 65 and open up even more retirement support options? Firstly, let's get that CPP out of the way. So at 65, it is just a full CPP. So with our example, $1,000, no penalty. Nice. Now we have two more supports opening. we have Old Age Security, or OAS, and we also have the Guaranteed Income Supplement, or GIS. Let's start with the OAS. Everyone is entitled to full OAS at 65, provided you did not make more than $86,912 in the previous tax year. If you did make more than the threshold, the government will then claw back 15 cents for every dollar you make over that threshold. So if you made an extra $1,000, you would lose $150 of your OAS for the following year. Thus, your monthly payment would be reduced by roughly $12.50. Another thing you should keep in mind is that if you did make a huge amount at 64 but have now retired, the clawback is only going to affect you for 1 year. If your retirement income drops below the threshold the next year, well, in that situation, it would make sense to maybe delay claiming your OAS, as you'll receive a 7.2% bonus for every year you defer it up to age 70. So also at 65, we open up the Guaranteed Income Supplement, or the GIS. So the GIS does come with a threshold that is an amount that you have to make less than the previous year to qualify for the GIS. So for single, widowed, or divorced folks, that comes in at $21,168. That threshold can go as high as $50,736 if you have a spouse or common law that is not receiving an OAS pension. It is $39,168 if your spouse or common law is receiving the allowance. One thing to also remember is that your OAS payments, those do not count as income when calculating how much GIS you qualify for, but your CPP does count as income. If you have a TFSA, anything you get out of that does not count as income. But if you pull things out of your RRSP, that would count as income, or after your RRSP turns into an RRIF, that will also count as income, of course. One last thing about the GIS, you can make up to $5,000 in income per year without it impacting your GIS. After that, you lose 50 cents on every dollar that you make. Moving on to 66. At 66, we move into bonus territory for both the CPP and the OAS. With the CPP, you get an extra 8.4% for every year you defer over 65, up to a maximum of age 70. So for that example, $1,000 a month at 65, that now gives you $1,084 per month at 66. OAS, on the other hand, will only give you an extra 7.2%. In Canada, the maximum is $698.60. So if you wait that first year, you'll receive $748.90. In fact, it actually increases 0.6% each month. So you can break it down monthly if you really wanted to. So moving up to 67, we once again see increases in both the CPP and the OAS. With the CPP, you get an extra 16.8%, so that $1,000 example, that now gives you $1,168 per month. If you only live to be 80, this option would make you the most money over your retirement span. Looking at the OAS, you'll get an extra 14.4%. In Canada, the maximum, once again, is $698.60. So if you wait until 67, you would receive $799.20 per month. Moving up to 68, we once again increase CPP and OAS. With the CPP, you get an extra 25.2%. So for that $1,000 example, that now gives you $1,252 per month. Looking at the OAS, you will get an extra 21.6%. Thus, you would receive $849.50 per month. Okay, we're almost to 70, but we got 69 first. If you started at 69, we once again increase both CPP and OAS. With the CPP, you get an extra 33.6%. So that 1,000 example, that now gives you $1,336 per month. If you only live to be 85, this then becomes the one that gives you the most money for your buck. Looking at the OAS, you will get an extra 28.8%. Thus, you would receive $899.80. Okay, we've come to our destination. Well, maybe. So at 70, we hit our maximum value for both CPP and OAS. With the CPP, you get an extra 42%. So for that $1,000 example, that now gives you $1,420 per month. If you can live beyond 86, this then becomes the one that gives you the most money overall. Looking at the OAS, you will get an extra 36%. Thus, you would receive $950.10 per month. That is absolutely not too shabby. Okay, let's go a little bit further. Let's jump over to 71. At At this point, your benefits are set. But the end of the year on your 71st year, that registered retirement savings plan, so the RRSP, that turns into a registered retirement income fund, or RRIF. So in your first year after the RIF is formed, you have to withdraw 5.28%. And this increases every year. In year 2, it is 5.4%, and then the next year it is 5.53%, till eventually, once you reach the age of 90, it gets all the way up to 20%. So let's say you have $100,000 in your RRSP and it becomes a RRIF. In that first year, you would have to pull out $5,280, leaving you with $94,720, and then the next year, you would have to pull out $5,114.88, and so on. That is provided your RRIF doesn't grow. If you've got really great investments in it, it is probably going to grow. If you have really great investments, you might be able to sustain that RRIF for a long time. So when building your overall retirement plan, you want to take into consideration the extra income it will create, as that could absolutely impact your GIS. Okay, let's jump ahead to 75. The last stop on this roadmap is 75, when whatever you are getting on OAS is increased by 10%. This is a new thing. This is a new bonus that began as a result of inflation. So if you took OAS at 70 to max it out at, well, $950.10, this 10% bump would put your OAS up to $1,045 and of course 11 cents. That is not too shabby at all. You know, I sure hope you enjoyed going down the retirement road with me today. If there are other retirement related topics you would like for me to cover on the channel, hit me up below in the comments and let me know. The next retirement video may very well just be the one you request. Keep the learning going. Watch my video on Hammond Manufacturing linked on the left, or test YouTube's recommendation skills by checking out the video on the right. Your choice will decide the winner, and I will see you in the next video.